They don't outperform. There are just not enough jobs.
We totally need to overturn what the education represents in the world.
There's no evidence that our education system is the reason why there's youth unemployment. It's not that education is supposed to deliver jobs or prepare you for work. Education is supposed to liberate you from ignorance and disease and all of these things, but also give you enough knowledge to create with the information that you have. Institutions do their work. They graduate students, but those students don't have anywhere to go because there are just no jobs.
Hi, before we start the episode, just give me 1 minute. I talk to you about something new that we're starting here today on We Need to Talk podcast. We started this podcast to have a holistic conversation between you and us here on We Need to Talk podcast. And we've been doing all the talking with our guests that we have on the podcast, but we've not been hearing from you. And yet you're supposed to talk. You're supposed to engage us. And that's why the team decided to bring this that you're seeing right now on your screen. Yes, that's the QR code that you can scan and engage with us. We're calling it the We Need to Talk guest highlight. What was your guest highlight for the episodes that you've watched? You can also scan it right now and tell us your highlights with our current guest that we're having today on the channel. So yes, when you scan that QR code, you'll be able to talk to us directly and engage us with your highlight of the episode. So yeah, thank you. Let's get back to the episode. Thank you. Welcome to We Need to Talk podcast. Today's episode is one that you don't have to miss. Every episode that we bring on the podcast is always fantastic for you, that you get to learn a thing or two, especially when it comes to how young adults are navigating through this fast-paced world that is full of AI right now. You cannot mention a word or two without the word AI. It's full of unemployment. It's full of mental fatigue, physical fatigue. Basically, it's a lot that's happening right now, and especially with social media and everything. Unless we get to have people that have experiences in these environments, so that they get to share what they're going through and we can learn from them. And today's guest is one that I've known for a while. I'm a fan of his work, first of all, but also his personality as a person. A few minutes ago, they were having a session with off camera, and this person texted me and they're like, they are really good people. And I'm like, yep, you're not messing around with your words. So put together your hands and welcome Benjamin on the podcast. Benjamin, welcome today on We Need to Talk podcast.
Thank you so much, Amon, and I am so happy to be on the podcast. I'm a fan of the podcast, and I have been waiting to get invited to the podcast. I was like, hey, Bana Ngenga, he's inviting everyone apart from me. And my turn finally came. So thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's our turn. It's our turn. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for watching and always supporting the podcast. I'd written the intro for you on today's episode. But here's something that I'm beginning today, because sometimes we box people that we know in a certain way that we understand them, and then we explain them to the mass outside. We tend to leave out various things. So something that I'm starting today is I'm going to always let my guests introduce themselves, like how best they want to introduce themselves to the mass or to the public. Then I will also introduce them with the intro that I had written down for them. And we see how, we scale it together. So I'll read your intro at last as we're ending the podcast. And then you can be able to weigh in and say, okay, out of 10, how did you perform with this intro?
That's interesting.
Yeah. For starters, for me to understand your alias context, and for a person seated across of me, how best would you explain yourself to a person who's watching you for the first time and listening you for the first time?
So I like to say that I am first and foremost a student of life. I am also a teacher of life. I am curious and I love knowledge. I am a father, a husband, a friend, and someone that's privileged to do the work that I am currently doing, and very grateful for to God and to nature and the world that for the feeling and the knowledge that I'm living my life's purpose in the work that I do. So I don't know if that's a good enough introduction.
It's good enough for me.
Yeah.
I mean, for a person who is living a life of their purpose, I think that's something that many young adults that are watching and listening to this podcast are like suffering with, finding my purpose, finding their purpose. How did you find yours? What was the technique? Was there like a map drawn that, okay, from this and this I'll find my purpose? How did you find your purpose?
So I would be happy if the best thing that would the best answer to this question would be that I was sleeping and I woke up and I had like this eureka moment where something told me, God told me that this is your purpose. Go, I had this encounter.
This is
with
your
God.
purpose.
But that's not what happened.
What happened?
What happened is that I had years of doing doing multiple things, but things that always led me to the same thing, basically. But maybe I should start with a story. A few years ago, maybe like 8 years or so ago, someone that I had gone to school with sent me, a message and said, these things that you're doing are exactly what you looked like you were going to be doing later in life when we were back in school. And this was someone I had gone to school with in O-level. And the thing with that is that if you're lucky to not stray far away from who you really are and the things that you're passionate about, then it becomes easy. So then you're privileged to, then you can say you're privileged to be living your life's purpose. But because the question you ask, how did I discover my life's purpose? So it wasn't a one-day event. It wasn't something that happened. And I think it was years of working at something, years of realizing that I am passionate about working with young people. I'm passionate about growth. I'm passionate about ideas that impact the world. I'm passionate about knowledge, both in terms of receiving it and exchange and transferring it. That I care about, making the world a better place. But I also care how that's done. So and through years and years of doing that, then realizing that you actually enjoy it and you are at peace doing it. So there are many ways in which you arrive at that end, but if the end is always the same, then it's easy for you to say that you found your life's purpose and you're living it. Yeah. I don't know if I've answered your question, though.
I think just to call back a bit, the things you are doing look like the things you will be doing. I hope I quote you very well in
Yeah.
that statement that you just made. What were the things? What were those things?
So I will tell you something. When I was in school, I used to write. Okay, I used to be a good writer, or I was always a good writer at that time.
Yeah.
And so later in life, when I started, writing, for example, a column in the Daily Monitor, it wasn't, whoever knew me from 20 years ago would not have been surprised that I was writing a weekly column in the leading newspaper in the country. Or I was always fascinated by ideas. I used to be a very good reader, but also I used to be quite reflective and reflexive. And even without position, for example, I was largely considered a leader of some sorts, and I know that our sense of leadership, or our understanding of leadership, is that it's positional, but leadership can also be opinion. Leadership can also be thinking. Leadership can also be contribution to aspects of other people's lives. And so if I guess that's what my friend was saying at the time, because that does still reflect in the way that I live my life now, that I am curious. Earlier today I was introducing myself as a teacher, which I do deliberately, because, and then people start to think, do you teach in primary school or do you teach in secondary school and whatever? And but it also tells you that the way you think about, but the way we think about teaching is that it should be confined in a specific, it's institutionalized, which it really isn't. And my philosophy, the reason why I say I am a teacher is because I teach. But also my philosophy around teaching is that for me to be a good teacher, I need to be a very, very good student. So that's why in my introduction, I said that I am both, I am a student of life and a teacher of life. And I was very deliberate in starting with the fact that first I am a student before I am a teacher. So if you think about the work that I do at Boundless, where I lead the team, Boundless grows young people. We really, that's at the core of what we do. We grow young people, presenting them with knowledge, skills, opportunities, and resources to discover who they want to be, what careers they want to take, to give them the very best shot at preparing for work. But I don't interact with the average young person who comes to Boundless. So my work there is leading the team which does that work. So there I am a leader, I am a teacher, I work with my team to design programs, I work with partners and things like that. And in all of those facets of life, you find the things that you're good at, focus on those, but also that thing about being self-reflective and being self-aware, knowing what things you're not good at, and being willing to either learn them, which is what makes you a good student, or offload them onto someone else who, for whom they make a lot more sense, or who is a lot more equipped to deal with them.
That's, I think this is like really an episode or a conversation for every young person who is like trying to find a career path find skills, find what they're good at, in life. If they are confused, or if you're confused on like what can you do, this is your episode. This is your conversation. Just tune in and put the volume higher so that you can listen to Benjamin speak. Because statistics, I was reading about that. Like Boundless Minds is said to have trained about 3,500 young people for work, entrepreneurship, and community leadership indirectly, which impacted about 7,000 and onboarded over 50 mentors. Piloted for a soft skilling toolkit in 30 plus schools with 2,000 plus learners, and built the mentor or a digital platform with over 1,000 users at that stage. Those are huge numbers from Boundless Minds. How do you do that? How do you put that helping hand to this young person?
When I said that I am privileged and grateful to be doing the work that I am doing, that's really what I meant. That, but also I think one of the things that's important with the kind of work. So when you do social impact work, you also realize how lucky you are in terms of how many people are available or avail themselves to further the work that you're doing, to support the work that you're doing. And the beauty with social impact investment with social impact investment and social impact work is that you have a lot of people who recognize its importance, but sometimes don't have the time to engage in it actively, the resources, or even the know-how, right? The technical ability and expertise, or even the courage, because it takes a lot of courage and persistence to do this kind of work. But they are also, but in that, because of the recognition of that, they are willing to champion your work. They are willing to invest in it. They are willing to give of their time, their expertise, their networks, their resources, their mentorship to you. So the reason why Boundless has been successful in the way that it isn't because its founder is a genius or is the most hardworking person or is the most, passionate about the work. It's not that because the team is the most hardworking, it's the most knowledgeable, it's the most technically astute compared to others. It's also because there are a lot of people who believe in the work that we do, and every single day say, we will push you to do the work that you do. So focus on the work, and we will support you to get it done. And for that, I'm always grateful. So every one of those numbers that you read is really part the effort of the team, but a lot of it has to do with goodwill, the goodwill of people who believe in the work and actively invest in it, as mentors, as funders, as cheerleaders, as recommenders, as facilitators. It's incredible when you start to do this work and realize how much support there is out there.
It's really fascinating, especially with the work you're doing. For a person actually who is listening to this and they feel like this is like a high-end conversation, like they are yet to grasp what we're talking about when it comes to Boundless Minds with the work they do. Can you bring it down to them? Can you like simplify what Boundless Mind is doing?
Okay. So I'm going to. So Boundless Minds. So let me put it this way. I'll use an example. So think about it. Think about yourself when you were 18 years old. What did you want to do? What did you want to be? Right? And then think of yourself. But then think of yourself 5-6 years later. You're now 25. And maybe you've graduated out of school, of university, you've graduated out of technical school, or you didn't make it to any of those, so you're just trying to figure out what to do with your life. You apply for jobs are hard to find, you bounce between jobs and things like that. You're just unsure about the life that you want to live. Whether you will achieve your dreams, what work you want to do, what career paths you are available for you. So if you think about it from that angle, you realize that there are, thousands, millions of young people like that who get to the 25-year mark and they're still confused about their career paths and what options are available for them and what to do with their lives. And then they will spend another 2, 3, 4, 5 years in still bouncing around. Now, there's nothing wrong with not being sure what you want to do with your life. There's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
But it's always better if you know what you want to do with your life, right? While there's nothing wrong with not knowing, it's always better and easier if you know. So what we are trying to do, or what we do at Boundless, is reduce the not knowing time, right? So we work with young people who are between 18 and 25 to prepare them for the world of work. And what we do is soft skills training that enables them to acquire what's called transferable skills that then they can apply to any sorts of jobs. So, creative problem solving, communication skills, sales and marketing, financial literacy and skills like that they can apply to all facets of their lives. Then we pair them with mentors who do two things. A, provide them with life and work readiness skills, right? So life skills and soft skills and life and work skills. But B, also build their network base, because it's hard for you to transition from school to work or from unemployment into an employment or into entrepreneurship if you do not have the right networks. So what our mentors also offer is that they open opportunities and networks for young people so that it's easy for you. If you start a business selling cakes, or if you are looking for a job, if you have a mentor, it's easy for them to open their networks for you to sort of give you a push. So that's the other thing that to do. So there's the skills aspect, there's the mentorship and networking aspect, which also comes with the fact that we have partners who have, internship placements, volunteer placements, gig work and things like that then become open to young people who have trained through Boundless. Then, of course, there's the resource part, which also involves, knowledge and whatever resources that one might need, recommendations, referrals and things like that open doors for them. So, and the general, the overriding idea with this is that if you learn if you learned think of all the things that you know today, how good would you be at them if you had learned them 5 years ago?
Wow.
Right? So what we are doing at Boundless, or what Boundless does, is to get young people to start thinking and doing as early as they possibly can, so that we can shortcut the learning process and learning curve. So by the time you're 23, you've had you have a better chance of making a lot more informed decisions because of the networks we've helped surround you, put around you, and the knowledge and the skills that you have, so that you have an early start, so that you don't have to wait until you're 25, 27 to discover what you want to be. So then you can focus on learning other things, because you've learned all of the things that your typical 20-year-old should know. Yeah. So in the long and short of Boundless, that's what we do.
Whoa, that's really, really interesting for a person like who has been struggling to understand what Boundless Minds is all about, because they've been hearing Benja talk about a lot of technical words in there before he brought it to simplicity. And there are very many young adults or even young people who by 25 don't know what they want to do. Very many of them. At 25, I knew what I wanted to do by 18. I was really, really young, even like I knew that I wanted to be a journalist by, I think, by 10, 11, I knew that I wanted to be a journalist.
Yeah.
But
you were
by
lucky.
18 years, I still loved it. Then 25, I finished campus. I graduated at, was I 24, 23? Yeah. No, 25. I graduated at around 25. I can't remember the exact age. But I went and pursued that I needed. And I knew that I wanted.
Yeah.
But after graduating, I was like, now what? I didn't feel that passion anymore.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I need to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, after 25, now I'm starting like to stagger around to look for what fills me, what would be my purpose. I guess that's where Boundless Minds comes in and helps, this young person who's also like in that phase. That's really, really great.
Yeah. And
But as you explained,
sometimes you can also know what you're good at, right? But not know what you want to do. Because that distinction...
Wow. Say that again.
Sometimes you can know what you're good at, but still not know what you want to do. And sometimes that happens because you can... Especially if you're good at a number of things. Sometimes it's hard for you to narrow down to what to do if you're good at a number of things, or if you haven't figured out a way to make a living and monetize the things that you're good at. So sometimes those are the contradictions and complexities that many young people face. So, I love content creation, right? But, okay, maybe content creation is now, because, content creators are making money now, so maybe they might not be a good example. But let's say if I love to write, or if I love to talk, right? Like I'm a good talker.
Yep.
Or I love to write, or I love to read and research. So in my case, I love to read, I love to research, I love knowledge, and I know I am good at this thing, but I don't know how to build a career out of it, right? So, but once you're in spaces where that can be nurtured, or you have someone that points you in the direction that you need to go, or challenges you and guides you along the way, then it's easy for you to make those sorts of decisions. And why that's an important thing to for us to acknowledge is that if you live in a country like Uganda, I mean, it's not the same. It's the same for many places, but the world of work has evolved so much in the last 15, 20 years that almost everyone is doing work that they didn't study. So,
facts.
yeah. So everyone who has a university degree, well, not everyone, but many people who have university degrees are doing work that they didn't study. So
what does that speak to when it comes to I want to say Ghanaian education? Okay, yeah, let me just say it. What does it speak to our education system right now, especially when we're putting out people, or when putting out graduates who are going to do different things and they have spent a lot of money, time in school studying what they're not going to do?
Yeah, so maybe I should clarify that it's not just a problem of the Ugandan education system. It's a problem of the global.
Is it everywhere? You think it's everywhere?
Yes, it's the problem of the global education system, with the exception of maybe 6 to 8 or 10 countries at most who have figured it out. The rest of the world is
which are those countries?
China to some extent. So if you're looking at Asia, probably China, Japan, and Malaysia. Those to some extent. But the best use cases are in Europe. So Norway, Finland, Denmark. So the Nordic countries have like sort of the better use cases in terms of education systems that make a lot more sense than. But the rest of the world, and I don't want to get into the theory of this because it will also take us to another aspect. But the thing is, it's not. So, but the thing I wanted to say is that it's not just a problem of the Ugandan education system. It's a general problem that because the formal education system as we know it was designed for to serve a particular purpose, and the time and period of that purpose has since passed. So if you think about typical education systems in the poorer countries, so that includes almost all of Africa and some parts of Southeast Asia and places like that. If you think about education systems there, many of those education systems are still maybe 40 years behind where they need to be.
That's alarming.
Yeah. So if that's why even when you finish school, you're not ready for work. And it's not that education is supposed to deliver jobs or prepare you for work. Education is supposed to liberate you from ignorance and disease and all of these things, but also give you enough knowledge to create with the information that you have, right? But part of the reason why people end up doing doing totally different things from what they studied, part of it has to do with limited opportunities. So your average economy does not have, is small and doesn't have enough opportunities to go around. It's not developed enough. or there's a career guidance is also such a big problem because again of that context in a what we call the third world or global majority. There's a career guidance issue around what people study and what they want to do. Many other people, of course, end up doing courses because that's what they can afford, right? It's not what they want to do. Or they got the course on government sponsorship, or the course was decided by their parent or whoever was paying tuition. So there are many other reasons that force people to do those things. But also sometimes, you always wanted to be a content creator, but somehow ended up doing forestry and then finished the degree, and now you decide you want to be a content creator. The emergence of technology, right, has created all of these new jobs that did not exist 10 years ago. So all of that. So why and why must you insist on doing stuff that you studied just because you studied it when there are opportunities elsewhere? And maybe just the last thing to say on this is that the value of that's why I said that the value of education is to liberate and free your mind, because if you have gone to school, then your mind should be open enough for you to understand that you don't have to do the things that you studied, because that's not what university is for anyway.
Do we need an overhaul of the global education system? Do we totally need to overturn what the education represents in the world and to the people?
So the quick answer is yes.
And how?
But also to say it's not possible. And
you think so? With this, okay. Let me first. Yeah.
So yes, we need an overhaul, but there's also something to be said. People talk about Uganda's because I hear it. Uganda's education system is problematic. It's like this and that, but there are also very good things about this education system. So it's not dead. It's there are advantages.
It's just a little bit behind.
There are advantages to our education system. So it's not that it's as good as if you don't go to school, you're better, because sometimes I hear those things. But so Uganda's education system also has its own advantages, or the global education system, if you like, has its own advantages. But of course, it needs to be overhauled to meet the demands of today, right? Because when formal education was conceptualized more than 150 years ago, it was supposed to serve the needs of the time, right? So they needed, there's a reason, there's a reason why our classrooms, why we sit in rows and columns in our classrooms. There's a reason why the teacher stands at the front of the classroom. There's a reason why you show up in the classroom and the teacher only the teacher knows what they are going to teach in that subject. Why you don't participate, you just come and they read notes and they read I think they call it dictating. They dictate notes there's a reason why the exams are set in the way that they are set, and they examine you for what you remember and what the teacher said, not what you're thinking. So, and all of that is about 150 years old or more. Because at that time, education served that purpose, that you didn't need to think, you needed to do as you're told. But the bulk of those aspects about life have changed, and yet in many respects, the education system hasn't changed. So in that regard, there needs to be an overhaul. But that overhaul must not also entirely take away some of the good things that exist, because memorization is not a bad thing, right? The fact that people are able to remember and cram and reproduce knowledge is not a bad thing. It's only bad if it exists as the only thing or as an alternative to critical thinking and problem solving. That two can coexist, right?
Yeah.
Now we know, for example, that even teachers need to learn, and they can learn from their students, right? That's not what it always was. The assumption of, formal education at the beginning was that the students don't know, only the teacher knows. But we know now for sure that there are things that students know that teachers don't know.
Teachers don't know.
Right?
Yeah.
And those things can be good for teachers, right? So aspects of things like that. But the reason why I'm also hesitant about this education overhaul is because education exists in context, right? So if you get the Finnish education system, which I think is ranked number 1 or number 2 in the world, and you bring someone from Finland as a consultant here to develop our education system, it will be disastrous for us, because our context couldn't be any 180 degrees away from what the Finnish context is. So those overhauls need also to be within our context. So this conversation about, in Germany they do this, they identify talent because I keep hearing these things and I don't even know where they're from. They identify talent very young, and they point you in that direction, so you focus on that.
Yeah. But it's what's like online everywhere, like even research, like when you're reading all over.
Yes, but Germany is a population. It's one of the most. First of all, it's one of the biggest economies in the world. It's one of the most advanced economies. It's a population of 80 million people, right? The Germans were using planes, fighter jets in the 1940s, long before Uganda had even become a country. So
oh my God.
Their civilization and their mechanization, their industrialization is over 100 years old, right? So there are things about their education system that can only work for Germany. That's why you see the French have not gone and copied the German education system and tried to take it there. So in the same way, we need to be cautious about overhauls. So, in your intro, you were talking about AI, for example.
AI,
right? AI is great, but I think the conversation about AI in our education system also needs to be handled with care. It sounds great, when we are saying, or the rest of the world, children are learning AI and stuff, but the bulk of this country doesn't even have access to electricity. We have some of the most expensive internet in the world.
In the world.
Right?
My God.
Our people do not have devices.
Yeah.
The ones who have devices do not have, are tech illiterate. Right? Our children coming from primary school cannot read.
And we're talking about AI.
The biggest problem for the last 20 years in Uganda's education system has in fact been school dropouts. So if you were prioritizing what to work on for the Uganda education system, AI would be number 100. It wouldn't, or
it wouldn't be.
Yeah. So I think that's why when we have these conversations about education overhauls and education systems, they must happen in context.
Yeah. I completely, I honestly agree with you right there, especially with the context part, because there are various factors that, have to be considered, like various variables or like how a certain country like Uganda can think about like changing it. Like the recently changed curriculum, till date, I haven't understood it. Like my sister comes back from school and they're showing me their report. I'm just like, okay, what is this? I'm trying like to understand it, but I cannot. And this is because I kind of feel like we just jumped into it, pumped it into students, or pumped it into schools without like gradually first analyzing the whole system or the whole terrain and context of the education or schools, how they do things. And it's confusing, even to students themselves. Like when you ask a student to explain it like simply, they won't. They will just give you the theory part of what the teacher told them or what the head teacher told them, that this is it. You have to explain to your parents like this. And with AI, like what you just mentioned earlier on, even like these top countries, I mean, they're fighting to get electricity. They're fighting to get data centers built somewhere, And when you say a country of mine like Uganda, we are having the most expensive data. We're having the most expensive electricity. Our data centers are like, when you even nearer, like you're trying to get information, it's a hassle. And when you speak about school, it's a lot. It's a lot of like things that need to be considered when you want to overhaul like an education system, like you're saying. I completely agree. Benji, let's shift gears. You argue that unemployment is a big part of a real story. What do people miss when they talk about youth unemployment? What do we miss in there?
So the debate about youth unemployment is interesting, because one of the biggest issues with youth unemployment is not one thing. It's a very layered problem, right? So and I will tell you some of the things that people miss when we talk about youth unemployment. For example, there is the talk that youth unemployment, that Uganda's education system produces job seekers and not job creators, and therefore
that kills me.
Our youth unemployment has to do with the fact that our education system is hopeless.
train.
So that's a myth.
Trains job seekers.
There's no, in fact, there's no.
How do you debunk it?
There's no evidence that the youth unemployment problem, that our education system is the reason why there's youth unemployment. That evidence doesn't exist. I don't know people who make that argument where they get it from.
Isn't the person who has their paperwork from school, their certificate, or their I don't know how they call it, whichever they get from university or college or institute, going out to the job market to look for a job, qualify as evidence as a job seeker? They're seeking for a job.
Yes, but so if the 101, if Makerere, UCU, Nkozi, Chambogo, Kampala International, all of these universities, if they produced 10,000 of the world's best engineers, right? The best electrical engineers, the best telecom engineers, the best software engineers, right? The very best in the world in 2026. Would they find jobs here? Do we have jobs?
Most of them fly out.
No, so that's the thing. That's my point. That the jobs issue, unemployment is an economy. It's an economy issue. It's not an education issue.
I see your argument.
If the economy does not have jobs, it doesn't matter what kind of education system you have. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If the economy is small in the way that ours is, if the economy is informal in the way that ours is, if the economy is badly run in the way that ours is, the very best graduates will still not find jobs, right? So the relationship between education and jobs is a problematic one. That's the first layer around youth unemployment, right?
So technically that layer is we are having these 10,000, okay, let's say out of the 10,000, 80% of these 10,000, let's say they are like the best students that have been produced, they outperform our job market right now. No, they cannot fit in that market.
No, they don't outperform. There are just not enough jobs. And it has nothing to do with the education institutions do their work. They graduate students. But those students don't have anywhere to go because there are just no jobs. And it's not the role of Makerere to create jobs. Does that make sense? Because jobs are created by government and investors, right? Entrepreneurs are the ones who create jobs.
Yeah.
It's not Makerere and the UCU and MOOBs and all of these guys. No.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing that we have to understand. That if even the very best student, so you can get a first class degree and there will still be no jobs if the economy doesn't have an enabling environment for investors and entrepreneurs to create the jobs. So whoever cares about employment should not be talking about graduates and job seeking. They should be asking the government, what have they done to create an enabling environment for entrepreneurs to thrive so that entrepreneurs can create jobs? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's the first layer. Yeah. The second layer around youth unemployment is that if you graduate from university, right, you are very likely to be underemployed than unemployed.
What does that mean?
So one of the biggest problems we have in So what is defined as graduate unemployment is in fact not unemployment. There's a lot. Uganda has a huge problem of underemployment. And underemployment basically manifests in three ways. A, that you're earning money that is less than you should be earning.
Which is majority of Ugandans.
Yes. B, that you're doing a job that is of a less quality and expertise than the quality and expertise that you have. Right?
Yeah.
C, that the time, right? That you have a lot more time, right? Outside of the actual job that you should be doing than on the job.
Oh my God.
That's underemployment.
That's so on point.
Right?
Oh my God.
So now let's also now dissect that, right? So your average Ugandan graduate is, let's say they are working in a bank or whatever. Or they have a shop selling shoes online, right? Or they are working at NASA. So that means that the money they make is not money that a graduate should be making. Okay? So they are underemployed even at a financial level, right? B, that the job you studied sound engineering, right? But because there are no sound engineering jobs, right? Now you have gone and started, doing something else, right? So that is the technical equivalence of your qualifications versus what you're doing don't match. You're overqualified for the job that you're currently doing. That is also underemployment, and that's the story of many young people. The other is the time factor, that the job you have doesn't require you to apply your thinking. That's why you see Ugandan WhatsApp groups are like, for me, I don't understand, like, because there are people who have jobs, but they will stay on the WhatsApp group. They are the biggest contributors to WhatsApp group. And that's a sign, right? That people are underemployed. When you show up at work, what do you do? Right?
You're literally lost at work.
Yeah. Whether you show up or not, nothing might happen. Yeah. We say 8 hour, I think it's an 8 hour work day or whatever. But if you count the number of actual man hours that have gone into the day, this person has been at work for 8 hours, but in actual sense has had 50 minutes of productive work cumulatively.
Which is insane.
Right? So that's the other layer that I was talking about for that's misunderstood around Uganda's youth unemployment, right? Ooh. That there's a huge problem of underemployment before you even get to unemployment. So now we've spoken about the two layers, right? Or the two contradictions. I'll give you a third and then we can move on, right?
Yeah.
So the third is the mismatch, right? Between the skills that graduates have, right? And the skills that the labor market demands. So skills-related unemployment. Okay? So we need to be clear on this. And again,
dissect that a little bit more.
And again, this is also not to talk about that relationship between jobs and education, right?
And yeah.
So if you if I were, and let me not mention the university because people will say I'm picking on their university. But if you're a university that offers a course teaching entrepreneurship, right? But one of the key performance or indicators or outcomes of that course should be how many of your students go on to become entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
Or to start some business of sorts. But you see, if the best way to teach business is not by sitting people in class and teaching them how to...
And urging them to,
It's by sending them out there to try and start a business, right? Because they are learning on the job, right? If you are teaching statistics, right? This person is going to become a statistician. What actual work, statistics work are they doing? Why are you examining them on things that don't have to do with analysis, with actual analyzing of data? Why aren't you giving them data sets to analyze, right? So the part of the problem that we have is that even when, so we don't have a large pool of formal businesses because we are a very informal economy. But even when a company is looking for someone to hire, so they will say we are looking for an accountant, right? We want to hire an accountant. And so even if they hired an accountant with a degree, because that accountant did not, for the duration of their study for 3 years or whatever, they actually never did any accounting work. They were just busy studying theoretical things or even being taught by teachers who have never done accounts work.
Not even the accounting.
So there's that the gap between what we study and what the market demands is wide, right? And because of that also creates another layer of unemployment. So, and again, this is not so remember, I observed education institutions. I said they are not supposed to create jobs, but they are also supposed to prepare their students for jobs, right? Well, they are not supposed to create jobs. It's not their role to create jobs. They are supposed to prepare students for jobs. That's why education institutions invest in research, understanding, and research leadership, right? So they are supposed to be able to predict what will the economy be like in 10 years so that we start preparing our learners to be compliant. But they keep teaching, they keep graduating people and stuff without understanding what the market demands and how to prepare their students to feed into that market. So someone finishes school and they've never really interacted with what they are supposed to do. So you can go to a film school or IT. You study. A student goes and graduates in IT or software engineering, but they don't even own a laptop. So how did this guy graduate from a software engineering course? They don't own a laptop. They can't do anything with their phone, but
they have a degree.
Yeah. So I don't know if I've helped you like appreciate, and there are many other layers to this thing, because we've only looked at this from the point of view of unemployment in the educational setting. Because remember, one of the biggest problems for Uganda, like I said, is we have high rates of school dropouts. So even there, for people who have dropped out of school, there are also different layers of unemployment.
Seeds, oh my God, chat. This episode is so tea. Oh my God. What Benja is throwing down here is what you don't need. Share with me your highlight. Click right now, right here. Share with me what your highlight is from what Benja has just shared. Oh my God. Woof. I feel like I'm just from space right now and I'm just landing from where you had just put me. Oh, Benja, we're coming towards an end of this episode. I know we have so much to talk about, but I wouldn't want to go without talking about your journey when it comes to what you do in Dublin and your work as should I call you a professor? I know you called yourself a teacher at the beginning.
Tell us for ease of reference, a lecturer maybe that might make it easier. But yeah, I am a teacher.
Briefly tell us what you do in Dublin, Ireland, and what's up with the environment right there.
Yeah, so I am a lecturer of educational psychology at Griffith College, Dublin. So what that means is that I teach students of psychology about education because there's a large component of education has to do with psychology, but I also teach students of education about psychology in relation to education. And maybe to ease it for, because every time I say I teach educational psychology, people are like, what's that?
What's that? We only know yeah.
So educational psychology really is the study of how people learn, right?
Simply put, basically, yeah.
Yes. So when you think about a typical student, right, when they show up in the classroom, in school or in a classroom, they are not just that being or with a school bag on their back. They are a human with emotion, with a background, who probably didn't eat, who is happy or sad, who comes from wealth or poverty, who has lost a loved one, who has dreams and ambitions, who learns different from the next person. But also when you think about a teacher, they might be going through a divorce, or they've lost a partner, or last night they were thrown out of their house, or they are fighting with their spouse. Maybe they were even beaten by their spouse. They are struggling with mental health and emotions. The child might be getting bullied. So all of those issues that affect the educational environment, that affect the ability of the learner to learn, of the student to learn and achieve their very best potential, are the things that we learn. So the student and the environment around, so the individual and the environment and context that affects their learning outcomes. So because the tendency is to say, go to school, and the person goes to school. So sometimes you have instances in which this student, this young person, is just struggling to understand this thing, this concept, and the natural instinct is to say, "Oyo musiru," this is a slow learner, and whatever. Yet the problem they are struggling with has nothing to do with them. It has maybe to do with the teacher, or the learning style is probably not fit or designed for them. So all of those things, so I teach those things.
Okay, that's amazing. Are you hopeful as a person? Are you hopeful?
Sorry?
Are you hopeful?
Yes, indeed I am. I wouldn't be doing the work that I do if I didn't believe in the future. So this work requires that first you're an optimist. Because if you're not hopeful, if you don't have optimism, you cannot do this work. Yeah. I am hopeful without being naive.
You're such a wise man, Benja.
Yeah.
So
Sips coffee.
So people I know time is not on our side, but people become hopeful and they become naive at some point. Like,
yeah.
bro, you're just hopeful, but you carry a lot of naivety in your hope.
Yeah. You can end up being naive and believing either your hype or believing that. So there. And why I say that is because I know that there are things, I recognize that some things are possible and within our means. But there are also many things that we want to do that, again, in the context of where we are, we cannot do. So I am hopeful in the things over which we have control. Right, so I can dream big, but also it's not blind dreaming, which borders on naivety, because then I'm conscious enough to know what's outside of my realm, and not even bother pursuing it.
That's a good that's really a good trait to have. Anyways, we have a norm here whereby a previous guest leaves you a question for you to answer, for you to help them understand what they're trying to strive for. And the question that was left for you is, what does your life demonstrate that you really care about, and are you happy with it?
Who left that question?
Do you want to?
Okay, I will answer.
Paula left this question for you.
Yes, I knew Paula was the last guest. I will answer that question. I think my life demonstrates that I care about the potential of people, and I am happy with it. Yeah.
Nice. Really good.
Yeah.
Especially when you care about people, then you care about the world, because people make the world. Without people, I don't know where we would be as a world. Yeah. Is there anything else that we've not talked about that you'd like to highlight or point out?
I feel like we've talked about so many things I don't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think.
So, what would be your question? What would be your question to our next guest?
So this is I hadn't thought about this actually. You should have warned me that this is part of the conversation, so that I prep. But one of the things that I always wonder is about why we do the things that we do, right? And where we draw not the inspiration, but staying power, right? So maybe the question would be, on the days when you want to give up, why do you not give up? Yeah.
That's a good question. That's really a good question to ponder on. Yeah. Can't wait to see how the next guest responds to this question.
Do I know the next
Well,
guest?
no, you don't.
Okay.
That's the beauty about it, because if you know the next guest, then you'll be like, okay, I'm gonna.
Yeah. I hear you.
All right, Benja. I guess it's time for me to give you my introduction, and out of 10, we see how I performed, if I got it right in terms of like what you do. Okay, so this is the introduction that I put together. Chat, let me know what you think about this introduction for Benja, but also just let me know what you highlight is you watching this conversation. By the fact that you were this far into the episode, it means you're so much interested in this conversation. All right, here you go. Today, I'm joined by Benjamin Rukwengye, a Ugandan education thinker, writer, and social entrepreneur whose work lives right at the point where school meets real life. He is the founder and CEO of Boundless Minds, an organization he started in 2017 to help young people move from classrooms into work, enterprise, and leadership through mentorship and soft skilling. Over the years, that work has grown into training programs, digital platforms, and partnerships that have reached thousands of people. Benjamin is also a psychology lecturer at Griffith College Dublin, and he recently completed a Master of Education in Psychology of Education at Trinity College Dublin, where he studied a career guidance and a school-to-work transition in the Global South. Benjamin, welcome, and thank you for talking to us on We Need to Talk podcast. It was such a honor talking to you. How was that? Did I cover everything that you represent as Benjamin?
9 out of 10.
9. I would take the 9. I would take the 9.
9. I'll give you 9 out of 10. Yeah.
Yeah, but Benjamin, thank you so much for making time to talk to us. It was really a good conversation, and where can we find Boundless Minds, and where can we find your socials and everywhere?
So Boundless Minds is online, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, which I refuse to call X. I don't know if we are still on Facebook since our people closed it.
I had it was open, so
yeah, and we used to be on Facebook. I don't know if we are still there.
Yeah.
Of course, we have a website. We are based in Kampala, so you can just look us up, Boundless Minds, and we will show up. Yeah, on any of those platforms. We are pretty active on, I think, many of them, and TikTok. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, and I really thank you so much also for you who has been with us this far into the episode. Remember to subscribe if you haven't subscribed to this channel, but also you can follow us on all our social media platforms. I will attach. Personally, no, we will. My team will attach all Boundless Mind into the description in case you want to know more about what they do. But also all the socials of Benjamin will be in the description. So until we need to talk more,